Okay. So what I was telling is, we have a number called as 7, right? And then we have another variable called as r. Here in R, what we are going to store is nothing but the output or the result of modulo division, right? Means X value means 7 modulo of 2. And then we are checking whether that answer is equal to 0 or not, right? How we check whether a number is even or odd? If it is if it is divisible by 2, that means it is even, and if it is not divisible by 2, that means it is an odd number, right? So divisible by 2 meaning that its remainder should be 0, and not divisible by 2 means it will give remainder as 1, right? So so similarly, we are giving the condition here if r is equal to 0, means if that result is equal to 0. What is the result? Result of modulo is nothing but the remainder, right? So, it is just like telling if remainder is equal to 0. Then it will give us some indent. See, for example, this indentation, it is not same for all the IDEs available, right? So for PyCharm, it will not give you automatic indentation. You have to give some spaces. See, if you give only one space, then whole of the block, entire block, you have to give only one space. If you are giving two space, then entire block of the code, you have to give only two space. This you have to keep in mind, because Python is easy to learn, but with this indentation, it will make like silly mistakes. Okay, we will make silly mistakes because of this indentation only, right? So if you are giving after if an indentation space of only one, then give one space for the entire block. Okay, if it is two, then give two space, right? So that you should keep in mind. So after that, what we have to do, we just have to print what the number is even, right? Number is even. So after this, if you want to come out of this block, if block, then what you have to do, you have to just backspace, and then you have to come out of this block like this, right? If not, if you are typing print even, and after this you are, check who is it? Yeah. Okay, it's an announcement. Here is an announcement. See, some of your friends are still joining with their own mail address. So please use institute mail ID. Okay. Bring even. See, like if you do not want to come out of this if block, then if your next statement is again inside this if block, then you have to write with the same indentation, right? See, print is starting from here. So that means the next statement print should start from here, leaving some space in the front, right? So here you can write hello. You can write hello also, right? Hello, like that. See, and then if you come out of this indentation, when you come out of this indentation, that means you have come out of this if block, right? So if what? What is the other condition is nothing but if r is equal to 1, right? If r is equal to 1, what does this mean? It means that your number is nothing but it is a odd number. So we have to just write in the print statement the odd number, right? And then if you want to come out of all these two blocks, if two if blocks, then you have to just give backspace, and then it is coming out of all the if blocks, right? So here you can just print by by. You just can print by, right? So this means, like, let us run this program. Run Okay. See, see, it is giving us odd and by. Why it is giving us odd and by? Let us cross check. Let us debug this program. Okay. So slowly, let us understand each and every step so that in future, when you go for complex programming, you will not get stuck. You should not get stuck, right? So here, first line, in the first line, let's debug line by line. Okay, in the first line, what we are doing is nothing but we are initializing a value 7 to a variable called as an x. In the second line, we are performing a modulo operation with the value x divided by modulo division 2, right? So this means the result of this means it is nothing but the remainder. So 7 divided by 2, the remainder is nothing but 1, right? So remainder is 1. So here we are checking if r is equal to 0. If remainder is 0, then print even and hello. Otherwise, what we are going to print, if r is equal to 1, then print odd and then print by. That is the reason why our result is 1. That is the reason why we are getting odd and by as our output, right? So, but here we can also see that this when we debug this program, what we can see that is, see if r, see we know that this modulo division, this r is equal to, see for example, we have a value called as an 8. Okay, we know that this 8 is divisible by 2, right? Remainder is 0. See, if r is equal to 0, then print even and print hello, and then it will print by, right? This is what we want. But here our compiler, our interpreter, what it is going to do is it will interpret one line by line, right? So if it will go and check r is equal to 0, so it is true, and then it will print even, and then it will print hello also at the same time. And after that, we know that we do not need to check this condition if r is equal to 1, because if r is equal to 0 is already true. Right. So we know that this is already true and it's printing some value, some printing something, right? So we don't need to go and check for this r is equal to 1 second, right? But here in our code, what we are doing is nothing but we are checking r is equal to 1 also, right? But we do not want this, because what we want is nothing but we want our program to be an efficient one, right? We are not just simply writing a program or code is so that it will run, right? what what we have to understand is that while writing a program or while writing a complex code, you have to keep in mind that your program should be an efficient one, right? So here we are just, what we are doing is nothing but we are wasting memory, right? We are wasting memory. This is unnecessary part. Right. Why this is unnecessary? Because here we already got the answer, and here we are rechecking it. We are rechecking it if r is equal to 1 once again, which is not at all necessary. Right. So, in order to overcome this unnecessary thing, we have another word called as, another keyword called as else. If we use just else, yeah, ELSE. If we use just else, what it is going to happen is, like, it will not, see, if your value, when you debug this code, what will happen is, if r is equal to 0, if the remainder is 0, and then it will print even and hello, and then it will come out and print by. It will not go to the else part and then check the condition once again, right? So that means it is more efficient than writing if r is equal to, if remainder is equal to 1 once again, right? So if it is true, then it will print this one, and then it will come out. It will not check the else part also, right? It will not go and check the else part, and it will come out of this block, and then it will print by. So this way your program is becoming even more efficient, right? So there is one more concept is like we have a nested if. So nested if is nothing but an if statement inside a if, right? So an if statement inside an if is known as the nested if statement, right? So nested if in the sense like, see, if we have remainder is equal to 0, then we are printing it even. See, inside this outer if, we have another if inside, right? We have another if, and we are just checking if x is greater than, if x is greater than 5, then what we are going to do? We are just going to print we are just going to print grade, right? We are just going to print grade. So what we are seeing here is nothing but nested if statement, right? Nested if means in, inside of this outer if we have another if inside, right? How we got to know that this if is inside of this outer if is by seeing the indentation, right? It is coming in the same line with the print here, the line above the if. That means it is in the same block. With the help of the indentation only, we will get to know that this if is inside this outer if statement. Clear? So after this, if you are printing grade, then that means that what it is going to do? First, it will check whether the remainder is 0, and it will, if it is 0, then it will print even, and then it will check once again if this x is greater than 5. What is the value of x? Is nothing but 8, right? X is greater than 5. Yes, it is true. Then it will print again what? Great, and then it will print hello, bye, and then come out. Right. So see, this concept is called as the nested if statement. Right. Nested if means if inside another if. Right. So how you will get to know that an if is inside another if? With the help of indentation. Right. So this is nothing but all about if. So we have another thing called as elif. We have another thing called as elif. So elif is nothing but, see, we will, so let's see the concept behind elif also. So we have an x, value of x is equal to 2, right? So if x equal to 1, then what we are going to do is we are going to print that it is 1, ONA1, right? Simple program, okay. So come out of this if block, then what you're going to do is you have to write elif, E-L-I-F. It is called elif. Elif x equal to 2, then print what? Print 2. Right. So similarly, at the end, what we are going to do is you have to write down else, right? Else, and then you have to write down print wrong input. Wrong input. Right. So what we are doing here is nothing but we are checking the condition, right? After if, it is followed by the condition. Keep in mind, okay? And then you should put a colon here. Those who are coming from a C background, you should know that these Python is little bit different from the C, right? So here in the C we have else if, right? Similarly in the Python we have else if, right? So how the program, let us debug this program, okay? So first, in the first line what we are doing is we are initializing the value of x to 2, right? So in the second line we are checking whether this x is equal to 1 or not. If it is 1, then you have to print 1. If it is not 1, then what? You have to go to the else part, else if part. So this is not equal to 1, so we have to go to else if part and we have to check the condition once again. So when we check the condition once again, x equal to 2, then print 2. So 2 will be printed as an output, right? So why is this else coming here? We can just finish this program here, but why this else is coming here? For example, if your x is not 1 and 2, if your x is 7, right? If your x is 7, that means it is not 1, it is not 1 as well as it is not 2, right? So that means it is neither 1 nor 2, then you should print something. You cannot just leave this as blank. You have to print something. That is the reason why we have an else here. If both the conditions are false, at that time this else statement will get executed. So print wrong input will get executed. If your value is neither 1 or 2, then here we have 7. That means here wrong input will get executed. So this is nothing but your entire concept or entire logic behind if, else, and then else, right? So next is nothing but your loop. We have two loops, while and for, right? So for example, why we need loop? Why we need loop is the first question that should come in your mind, okay? So if I ask somebody, like, write your name 10 times, will you write? Hello?
No, ma'am, it will be boring.
No, ma'am.
It will be boring. If I tell you to write 1,000 times, what you will feel?
I will not write, ma'am.
You will not write. You will get angry, right? You will get angry. You will get bored. And why ma'am is asking me to write my name 1,000 times, right? But this computer, this program, will not get bored. They will. This program Python will never get bored. Even if we ask to write 2,000 times, 10,000 times, million times, he will like it. This Python will write, right? Okay. So how we will see? Okay. So first we will discuss this while first. See, let us initialize I is equal to 1 first. Okay. So while I is less than, let's take small number, I is less than 5, less than or equal to, let us take less than or equal to 5. Let us take small number first, okay? And then what we have to do, we just keep on tap and then print hello, right? Print hello. And then let us save this program and let us run it. Okay, it should be colon, okay? Okay, Control S and then let's run it. See, instead of printing 5 times, why is this program keep on printing hello, 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 non-stop, right?
Ma'am, I value is not changing, ma'am.
Yes, very good. I value should get updated, right? Otherwise, what will happen is like it will keep on printing, keep on printing, keep on printing, right? So here, what we can do is we have to increment the value of I. So I is equal to I plus 1, right? So control S, let us save this and let us run this once again. See, when we run this program, what we get is nothing but we will get 4 hellos. We'll get 5 hellos, less than equal to, right? We will get 5 hellos. Instead of hello, 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 non-stop infinite times, what we are getting is nothing but 5 hellos, right? So here, if you forgot to put this I is equal to I plus 1, it will run infinitely. So we do not want that. So that is the reason why you have to update your I value, right? So this is nothing but your while loop. So next is nothing but your for loop. So while we have understand, let us understand for loop. So for loop, how we can do is like, let's suppose we have a list. We have a list X is equal to, see, when you know that which one is the list, which one is a tuple, which one is a set, you have to know with the help of their brackets. Okay. So only the bracket is helping us to distinguish between these sets, tuples and then list. Okay, so here we are going to use the list. That is the reason why we will use square bracket. So if you are using square bracket, then it is a list. Okay, so here in the list we have hello, which is nothing but the string, and then number 65, and then 2.5, some values, right? So for is simpler than while, right? For we do not have to what? We do not have to initialize here. See, why is Python easier to learn than any other language is here, even in the for also, while using for also, but in the C, we have initialization, we have termination condition checking, we have increment and decrement, right? But here in the Python for, we don't have to initialize, we don't have to check the condition, and we don't have to increment or decrement. How? It will be done by itself, right? When you just write for, it will be done by itself, right? So for I, right, for I in, the syntax is for I in. For the name of the variable, it can be I, J, K, L, right? I in what? In what? In the list. The name of the list is nothing but X, right? So don't forget to put a colon. And then you just have to print, the value of I. That's it. You just have to print the value of I. Here we don't have to initialize, we don't have to check the termination condition, we don't have to increment or decrement. Just write for I, J or K in list, name of the list, that is X, and print the value of I. And then when you run this program, control S, and when you run this program, what you're getting is nothing but you are getting hello 65 2.5 as an answer, right? So this is nothing but how it is happening. It is nothing but this I will first point to hello first, and then it will point to 65 first, 65 next, then it will point to 2.5, right? So before we use 4, how we are printing is like x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, like that. If you want to fetch the value inside your list, how we are doing is nothing but x of 0. We are providing the index number, right? We are providing the index number one by one, and we are fetching the elements one after the another. But if we want to print all the values in the list at once, then what we are going to use? We are going to use for loop. You cannot use x of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the same time. What you are going to use? You have to use for loop if you want to print all the values inside the list at the same time. Okay, so this is how we use for loop, right? So for can also be used to print range values. For example, for can also be used to print a range value. For example, for I in, see, it is not a mandatory to use I all the time. You can use I, J, K, A, B, C, but generally people prefer to use I, J, K in the for loop. Okay, I, J, K, L, like that. The developers do not prefer to use A, B, C inside the for loop. Okay, so that is just some general idea, but it is not at all compulsion. But you have to follow some programming tactics also, right? So that means if you are using a for loop, just go for IJKL, don't go for ABC, right? So for I in what we have studied what is range, right? Range. So range is providing the range of values starting from 0 till excluding the number itself, right? So when you are writing 10 means it will provide us the value 0 to 9, excluding the value which is provided, which is nothing but 10, right? So when you just print I, then what we are getting, let us see. Let us run this program and then let us see. See, so what we are getting is nothing but 0, starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Till 9 we are getting as an answer. Right. So this is how we use range in the for loop, right? So what if we want to print only the even numbers, right? So that also it is possible, right? So how we will just provide the starting and then ending excluding the number provided and then the difference is 2, right? So here it will start from 11 and then it will run till 20 because 21 is excluded and the difference will be 2, right? So let us save this and let us run this program. See, when we run this program, how we are getting is 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, the difference of 2, right? So two difference answers are giving, right? So 11 after 11, and the next answer will be 13, right? 13 plus 2 is nothing but 15. 15 plus 2 is nothing but 17. And then 17 plus 2 is nothing but 19. So this is nothing but iterating with the difference of 2, right? So after this, yeah, this is all about for and I. This is all about for and I. Okay. So if we understood this for loop very carefully, then what we can do is we can go for pattern. We can go for printing of the patterns, right? So printing of the patterns means what? Printing of the patterns. See, we have some patterns, right? We have some patterns called as star, 4 star, and then here also star, and then star, here another star. See, all this star can be or hash also or add rat symbol also. So we have some symbols and then we are making a pattern, means we are designing it in what format we want to print this star, right? So this is the output that we are going to get using this what, using this for loop, right? So let's write the program to make this pattern. This is called as program for making a pattern. Okay, you can design, you can make faces also. You can make round 2 circles and then some one straight line. it will make a face of a human also, right? So if you learn programming a pattern, then it will be easier for you to program uh, any other, like drawing any other patterns, right? So let us start with the very basic one, drawing all the squares, right? Drawing all the squares, right? So your output should be something like this. Your output should look something like this. Okay. So how we can write? That is the question. So for example, some students might be thinking like, see, if we use print, if we use print, and inside this print, if I write star space star space star space star, and then if we close it, control S, and then run it, we get 4 stars, right? We get 4 stars. By doing so, we get 4 stars. But what if we are allowed to use only 1 star for one print, right? For one print, you are allowed to use only 1 star. In that scenario, what will happen? Let's see.
Ma'am will use loop, ma'am.
You will use loop. Yes, very good. Okay. So before coming to loop, see, let's suppose you have star here. You have star here, and then let's suppose control control C, and then control V. Enter control B. Right. So let us see what will happen if I write my program like this. Right. So control S and then run it. See, if I write my program like this, oh, I got something like this. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, like this. Right. But here using this, here using this program, this same line, we want to print something like this, not like this, right? But how we can do it? So by looking at this program, we got to know that after printing the first line, it is going to the second line, and it is going to the third line and fourth line. If we do not want these to go to the next line, what was
Slash
the
T, ma'am.
what?
Slash T. Horizontal tab.
Horizontal tape. No, 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 not horizontal tape. So what you can do is nothing but you have to you have to remove the next line, right? So you have to avoid this from going to the next line. You want to print in the same line, right? So it is going to different lines, right? So it is going to different lines, but you want to print it into the same line. So in order to do that, we have one keyword called as n, right? This we have already done. So we have n, end is equal to, when n is equal to null, means if you have not given anything, right? Then what will happen? For this also, I will provide the same thing. N equal to empty, right? And then n equal to empty for this also. And then for this also, we have n equal to empty, right? So let us save this program and let us run it. I hope no error comes. Yeah, no error. See, I have not done any magic, right? So this has come in the same line. But how it is coming in the same line? It is coming in the same line because we are avoiding to print in the next line by using our keyword end. By using our keyword n is equal to empty, we are avoiding these to go to next line. We are printing everything in the same line, right? So this is the concept that you have to learn. You have to learn. Okay. So this thing you have to play around. You have to play around with this. Okay. So after this, what you can see is you are writing the same thing again and again. Whenever you encounter a situation where you are writing again the same statement again and again, at that time you are supposed to use loop, right? So when you are supposed to use loop, whenever you encounter some statements are writing repeatedly again and again, at that time you have to use loop, right? So here let us use for loop. Let us use for loop. So for let us take j. For j in range. For j in range. Why we are taking range? Because it is going to print from 0 and excluding 4. Right? Range 4. For j in range 4. Right? And then we will not be writing this same thing again and again. Right? So if we are using 4, then of course there should be an indentation. Automatically when you go back, it will give you an indentation, right? So let us run this program. Okay, we are just getting only the same thing, right? We are just getting the same thing, but we want to print it what? 4 times, right? 4 times. We want to print it 4 times. That means what we have to do? We have to write this for j in range 4 print star n is equal to empty for how many times? For 4 times. We have to write this one 4 times. Right. So if I write this 4 times and I do control S and then run it and run this program, what we are getting is nothing but 16 stars. We are getting 16 stars. Okay. So whatever I am telling now, you just concentrate and listen. Okay. Because I will be giving you one assignment and you guys have to submit the assignment. Right. So here, see, we have 16 stars. We have created 16 stars. But what we want? We do not want our stars to be like this. We want our pattern to be like what? Like this one. Right? So that means after every 4 star, it should go to the next line. Right? After every 4 star, it should go to the next line. Right? So let us see what will happen next. So you can also see that you are writing the same thing. For j in range 4 print star n is equal to empty. For j in range 4 print star n is equal to, you are writing the same thing 4 times, right? That means you can put this one inside loop once again. That means nested for loop. It becomes what? Nested for loop, right? So for I will use I for I in range what? For I in range 4. Because you are going to repeat it 4 times, right? Range 4 and then this will be inside this and this one will be inside this folder. And the rest of the things we don't need it, delete it, right? The program looks even more clearer now. The program looks even more clearer to us now. Why we need double for loop? Why we need nested for loop? Why? Because we are writing the same thing again and again. Whenever we are writing the same thing and again, even if there is a for loop repeatedly writing it again and again, that means you have to put that into a inside a loop, right? So that is the reason why we are using here two for loop, which is nothing but nested for loop, right? Similarly, for nested if loop, if statement, we know that how it is coming for nested if statement, and then similarly it goes for loop also. This is nothing but nested for loop, right? So let us run this and let us see what happens next. Let us run this and what happens next. Okay, it is printing. Yes, it is printing what we are expected to print. But we want it to go to the next line, right? After every 4 star has been printed, we want it to go to the next line. So what we can do, in order to go to the next line, what you have to do is nothing but you just have to give a print, and then inside this give nothing. You just have to give print, and then inside this give an empty parenthesis. Inside this you don't give anything, right? Don't give anything, just give inside this empty. So let's run this program. See, when you run this program, you get the output, the desired pattern that we are expecting, right? The desired pattern we got as an output here, right? So how we are getting this output? Let us debug line by line. So here, this I, for I in range, okay. So this pattern is in the form of what? Matrix. Means this is in the form of table, right? Means it has rows and columns, right? It is in the form of a table. It has rows and columns, right? So this I is for what? This I is for number of rows, and this inner for loop is for what? The number of columns. Inner for loop J is nothing but the number of columns, and after for loop I is for the number of rows. These are nothing but rows. These are nothing but columns, right? Rows and columns. Do not get confused with rows and columns, okay? Always keep in mind that rows should be in the outer, and then a column should be in the inner, right? So in the inner, when it comes to inner for loop, so what it is doing is like it is printing what? Range is what? 0 till what? 0 till 3. That means it is going to print 4 times. After printing 4 times, it is going to print next line. Print without anything inside, it is for next line. It is going for next line, right? So we have a syntax like slash end also. Slash n also it is possible, but not necessary. Just give print and don't give anything inside this parenthesis or bracket, then automatically it will be accepted as a new line, right? So after this, what will happen is like it will go to the next line. It will go to next line, and then it will execute this for loop, inner for loop once again. After inner for loop is executed 4 times, it will print what? It will print the next line, new line, and it will go to the outer for loop, and then come to the inner for loop, and then print it 4 times. This way it will be repeated. This way it will be repeated. How it is going to repeat? It is first outer for loop will be in the range 0. I will be first 0, right? 0 to 3. So outer for loop I will be first 0. So I is in the range, right? So for j in range, for j value is also 0. So j is also in the range, right? J is also in the range. So we have to print what? You have to print this star, right? So after you print this star, you don't have to jump out of this new line. You will be here. You are in this line. Your cursor is here, this line. Okay. So after you print this star, what you are going to do is you are going to check here j value once again. J value is now 1. From 0 it has become 1, and then increment and decrement. Incrementation, it is happening inside for loop by itself. Okay. So keep in mind that do not ask questions like why there is no j plus plus like that, because it is happening inside for loop by itself. Okay, so for j value is now 1, now 1, and in the range what, 0 till 3. So it will go till where, till 3. When it reaches 4, it will come out what, it will come out and print this new line, and then this I value will be incremented. I value was what was 0, right? So for I value 0, this entire row has been printed, and then for the next value I value 1, this entire value is going to be printed. And then after you after you encounter every print and with the empty parenthesis, you are going to go to the next line. Okay, so this is how the logic or the idea behind printing of a pattern. Okay, this is very important. If you know or if you know how to play around with printing of this pattern, many designs. Pattern means the star can be a big star, you can make big star, you can make circles, you can make triangles like that. Okay, so if you play around with that, then remaining rest of the programs will be very easy, right? So this is pattern, like pattern programming is like for interview also. When you reach third years or final years campus interview, they will definitely ask, okay, for pattern programming. So you should be very much clear with the concept, like how this double for loop is working, and how this print is working and all. Okay, you should be very much clear with the concept. When you are very much clear with the concept and the idea and the logic how to apply, then you can make any patterns of your choice. Okay, so this is pattern programming, and then your assignment will be pattern to make a program, Python program, to make the pattern something like this: 2, 3, and 4, 4, something like this. Okay, half triangle, right? So, so this one, your assignment is to write a Python program to print a pattern of this kind, right? So this is your assignment, and you have next 2 hours. Do not see, if you want to learn, then make mistakes. Okay, you will learn from your mistakes. Do not directly go to the Google and search for this pattern program. Obviously, you will get some code, and it may run, and if you are lucky, and if you are unlucky, it may not run also. And then if you get any error, you will get stuck. Why am I getting this error? Why am I not getting my output? You will get stuck, right? So that way, you are not supposed to learn that way. The best way to learn is you do it by yourself, by understanding what has been taught so far. So you do it by itself, and whenever you got stuck, you can ask, or we can have a discussion in the next class. Okay, so like this, you will learn. We take a baby steps and then start learning coding. Start to learn coding. Okay, this is how you code. This is the way to code, is not to just directly jump to the Google and get some code and run it. And you, if you're lucky, you will run your program. Not like that. Okay. So do it by yourself. Understand the logic. The best way is to take a pen and paper first. Write down this pattern first, and then apply your logic using pen and paper first before directly jumping and typing in the laptop or your computer or your mobile phone. Before directly jumping and typing to your mobile phone, what you can do is you just take a pen and paper, draw this pattern, and then build your own logic. If you're comfortable, like whatever the logic that you have built or the program that you have written is will work, then that moment only you can use your system, that is computer or laptop or mobile phone, and start coding. Okay, this is how you learn coding. So this is your assignment. I will create a Google Classroom and then share with you guys the code, Google Classroom code, and then inside that you can submit your assignment, or else I can create a Google form also, not an issue. But next 2 hours you try to understand the logic and then do it by yourself. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.
ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, I'll end the class for now. Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very
No,
good.
ma'am.
Very good, very good.
Ma'am, do we use semicolon in Python programming?
Semicolon, no, no, no. We don't use semicolon in Python programming. We use colon.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Okay, I'll end the class now. So you guys try to execute the program, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.